Today I'm going to be talking about Storify and its uses for online writing instruction. So first, an overview. What is the tool? Storify is a social media site designed to help curate web content. It allows you to search for content from social media in the web and actually compose a multimodal story. So you're creating what they call a story using this content, and you can do this all within the same interface. Increasingly, Storify has been used for web journalism and also as an archive for organizations or events. Though it was not designed to be a pedagogical tool, Storify as a tool has potential uses in the online classroom that this video will explore. So let's take a look at Storify in action. So you can access Storify on the web, so you can just go to storify.com. And you'll notice that there are two options, Storify 2 and Storify Free Signup. Storify 2 is actually a relatively new addition, and it's meant for organizations and publishers, and it's a paid subscription. I'll actually be focusing on Storify Free. So students can create their own accounts, and one of the nice things too is that they can create a username that's like a code name, so that when they publish things, because Storify does publish whatever students produce to the web, that they can be publishing it under a code name as opposed to under their real name. So let me take you through my Storify account. So when you open Storify, it's going to take you to the dashboard, which is going to show you all of the stories you've published as well as the stories that are in draft form. So this right here is a Storify story that I created. So you can see that in a Storify story, you can combine original text, images, GIFs, other things that aren't included here that you can include. You can include social media posts, things from Instagram, videos from YouTube, so all kinds of web content you can integrate, and it creates this vertical story that people sort of scroll through. And I talk to students a lot as it's kind of like you're creating your own BuzzFeed type article, particularly if you think about the BuzzFeed listicle. So I wanted to show you some examples of when my students have used this in the past. This one was a homework assignment in which students had to create a BuzzFeed-like listicle of the top 5 ideas from their reading. So the students created a list, and then they needed to include both a quick couple sentences about that idea and include some sort of image or multimedia to go with it. So one thing you may have noticed as I'm scrolling through this student's stories is that the student was obviously a big fan of Parks and Rec, using all of his GIFs and images from that show. So ultimately, this activity within this program, because it allows for some creativity, students can actually integrate their interests into their assignments, which helps me and their classmates get to know them better, which can support OWI Principle 11. Using Storify also aligns with OWI Principle 2 since it has a relatively low learning curve. So let's take a look at how you actually can create something in Storify. So when you create a story, you get this sort of blank canvas. You can give it a title, give it some sort of description or subheading of what you're doing, and then the main content is going to go here. So I can actually just enter text. So I can put in original text, and then let's say I want to enter in some information about myself. Over here, I actually have options to sort of search for content. So I can go here and search for myself on Twitter, and I get some of my tweets. And I could say, oh, I want to include this picture that shows me at work. And I can literally just drag it into the document, and it is now part of my story. I can also rearrange if I want to move this up ahead of this or put the words below it, that I can rearrange the order. But what I cannot do, I can only move things. Notice I don't get just the pointing arrows. I can't adjust the size of anything, and I can't do anything but move things vertically and change their order. So this actual constriction and lack of sort of ability to be flexible with design actually helps support the OWI Principle 2, since students don't have to worry about things like design and arrangement. So now let's say it wasn't an introductory assignment, but instead I was using this as a way to think about research, which is how some other instructors have talked about using Storify. So let's say that my students were doing some sort of research project on emojis and how they impacted communication. So they could, still in the Twitter search for emojis and get a series of tweets that have something to do with this, and think about, okay, what is the conversation going on? What are different people talking about sort of with emojis? And if they wanted to create a story thinking about what is currently going on in this conversation, again, they can just click and drag. So they can search through all different types of applications like Instagram, YouTube. They can search for GIFs, Flickr. Recently, Storify doesn't seem to play very nice with Google, that whenever you search for anything, you just get that no results found. However, you can still integrate content from Google using the embed URL. Ultimately, I think Storify has a lot of promise for online writing courses because it is a low-stakes way to help students engage with compositions multimodally. By allowing students to share and engage with content that connects to their interests outside of the classroom, you can help promote community within your classroom, and its relative ease of use aligns it with OWI Principle 2 so that you can focus more on the composition they're creating as opposed to teaching them this particular technology.